Good morning, Acts Church. Welcome to Saturday morning. I want to share from 1 Samuel chapter 18 and 19, and it's a great passage showing that God is our deliverer. At least 5 attempts in just these 2 chapters were made by Saul on David's life. David didn't do anything wrong. He was faithful. He was faithful to Saul. He was faithful to God, yet Saul in his jealousy tried to take David's life. So on the last attempt in chapter 19, we see David running to Ramah. This is only 2 miles away from where Saul lives, but this is where Samuel lives in his prophet school. So he's running to Samuel, and he's pouring out his heart to Samuel. So I can imagine he's seeking God through Samuel, and Samuel is speaking truth over David. Hey, David, remember, you are the next king. God chose you. God has great plans for you, and he's speaking God's word over David. So let's just find out what happens during this. It says, when David had fled and made his escape, he went to Samuel at Ramah and told him all that Saul had done to him. And then he and Samuel went to Naioth and stayed there. Word came to Saul, David is in Naioth at Ramah. And he sent men to capture him. But when they saw a group of prophets prophesying with Samuel standing there as their leader, the Spirit of God came on Saul's men, and they also prophesied. Saul was told about it, and he sent more men, and they prophesied too. Saul sent men a 3rd time, and they also prophesied. Finally, he himself left for Ramah and went to the great cistern at Secu. And he asked, where are Samuel and David? Over in Naioth at Ramah, they said. So Saul went to Naioth at Ramah, but the Spirit of God came even on him, and he walked along prophesying until he came to Naioth. He stripped off his garments, and he too prophesied in Samuel's presence. He lay naked all that day and all that night. So during this time, all day, all night, Saul is praising God instead of killing David. And during this time, David is able to get away and flee from Saul. So I just want to point out the importance of seeking God during our pressures of life, seeking after his face and seeking him, even when sometimes pressures can be a distraction. Sometimes we feel like, man, I am so distracted by what's going on, and maybe it's our job, maybe it's our family, a health concern, a financial concern. There's a lot of things that happen. Everybody has pressures in life, and they try to pull us away from seeking God. Sometimes we even don't feel like reading our Bible. Sometimes we even stay away from other Christian believers and think, oh, I can handle this myself. I'm too embarrassed to share my problem. So we sometimes we avoid Christian fellowship in times of pressure. Even Job, when he had disaster after disaster, was tempted by his wife. She said, are you still holding on to your integrity? Curse God and die. But he didn't. He didn't curse God. He still believed in God's goodness, and David too. He sought God's face. I believe all these pressures he was going to, God was just preparing him for the pressures of what it was going to be like when he was king. As a leader, there's lots of pressures that they need to go through. And he needed to learn to seek God's face always. And he did later on when his life was being sought after again. He says, oh God, you are my God. I will seek you earnestly. My heart thirsts for you. So only God as our deliverer can save us from what is coming after us. Whether it's a physical thing or a spiritual thing, only God can be our deliverer. And only the deliverer, God, can give us what we need, what we're thirsting after. You guys have a great day, seeking God, seeking his face. Love you.